South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, you know, I watched Chuck Schumer today, and it was good to finally hear him speak out. He spoke out powerfully against anti-Semitism. I'm sure a lot of it directed at his own party. Where was he when Congresswoman Tlaib was saying, you know, to wipe Israel off the map from the river to the sea? And why did Chuck Schumer, there was a standalone aid bill for Israel on the Senate floor yesterday, and he, I'm told, was leading the effort to stop that aid bill. Is that correct, sir?
That's exactly right. So Senator Schumer made an eloquent presentation about the rise of anti-Semitism, and he's right about that. So what happened here is 30 9/11s for Israel occurred on October the 7th. 1,200 Jews were slaughtered in their homes, the biggest killing of the Jewish people since the Holocaust, and you have in Oakland, California, people praising Hamas. The Democratic Party supports the Palestinians over the Israelis for the first time in polling last year. So this effort by my Democratic colleagues to put restrictions on money going to Israel to defend themselves is sick and absurd. This call for a ceasefire is nuts. What would we have said to a group that asked us to have a ceasefire after 9/11? We'd told them to go to hell. So here's what I say to my Democratic colleagues. Support Israel without conditions. Allow them to destroy Hamas before it's too late for the Jewish state. Stand with Israel, reject Hamas, tell all these crazy people to shut up. The bottom line here is the Republican Party is with Israel. The Democratic Party is very confused.
Well, I mean, I really don't understand why Washington works this way. I understand. Well, okay, fair answer. But, you know, I know what Chuck wants to do here. He wants to tie funding for Israel to funding for Ukraine, for funding with Taiwan, and maybe he'll give some money to the border. The House is not going to go along with that, period, end of sentence. I don't see that happening. No. Israel has not gotten any aid money. Ukraine has gotten nearly $80 billion of money. We're paying more than Europe is paying. It's their continent that is at war. And I think that's been unfair on their part. My question is, why can't we vote on every bill as a standalone on the merits, up or down, and why are these games always played? If he's so concerned about Israel, he had an opportunity to help them yesterday, and he passed on that opportunity.
Yeah, so we need to bring up an Israel standalone bill and support Israel and be done with it. But I'm not going to give money to foreign countries until we secure our own border. 10 Democratic senators wrote a letter opposing efforts to provide border security, opposing policy changes that would secure our border. Governor Abbott, if you're watching Sean Hannity tonight, do me a favor. Make it real to those 10 senators in their states, what you've been dealing with in Texas. Instead of sending them all to New York, why don't you look at the states in question, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Oregon. Governor Abbott, make it real to these 10 senators what it's like to live with a broken border. Send thousands of illegal immigrants to make it real to the politicians who oppose border security. The Democratic position is remain in Texas. They're okay with Texas being overrun. Governor Abbott, send busloads of illegal immigrants to these senators so they will understand what it's like to live with a broken border.
Let me ask you, Senator, we hear this virulent anti-Semitism in the halls of Congress. We see it on, you know, college universities, prestigious universities, a lot of them. We see it in the streets of our cities. We are seeing it worldwide, all across Europe. We're seeing it even in Australia. Gas the Jews, F the Jews. Did you ever think in our lifetime that we'd ever hear those words in light of the history of what happened in Nazi Germany? Because that sounds like the 1930s to me. And I've never used that analogy very often. I thought it was often misused and overused. I don't think so in this case, based on the knowledge we have of the acts they committed that are on videotape, frankly, that I would like to air, except I'm sure it would be too harmful for the families unless we pixel out their faces.
Well, I'm going to call people at Fox tomorrow and beg them to put on the air some of the videos so you can see for yourself what happened to the Jewish people. You can see that on October the 7th, 2023, 80 years after the Warsaw Uprising in Poland, Hamas wants to kill all the Jews for religious reasons. The Nazis wanted to kill all the Jews because of racial reasons. I never thought I would live to see a Holocaust survivor who survived the Nazi terror to be killed by Hamas in Israel. We live in dangerous and sick times. I am begging Fox to air the footage so the American people can see what Israel is facing. No conditions on Israel aid. To my friends in Israel, do what you need to do as long as it takes to defend your country. To the Palestinian people, turn on Hamas. Kick them out.
Lindsay, you know Israel well. You've been over there many times. I've been there many times. I've been in the terror tunnels. I know you've been in the terror tunnels.
Yes.
I've been near the Iron Dome. I've seen it work. I've been to border towns like Sderot. 10,000 rockets they got hit with in a 10-year period of time. Kids can't play outside. They play in underground bunker playgrounds. And I'm thinking, victory to me is this. If once and for all, Gaza can no longer be a launching pad for rockets into Israel. But that also includes in the north. Lebanon could no longer be a launching pad either if they want to have real security and peace in the region and security for Israel. But I'll say this. Nobody seems to ever want to talk about the #1 state sponsor of terror, and that is Iran. That we now know they trained Hamas for this. They supplied them with weaponry for this. They are fighting another proxy war, one of many in the region. They have been fomenting terror and getting away with it for a long period of time. I would say it might be time for the world to realize in the entire region that maybe those refineries that Joe has allowed them to use more than Donald Trump did, maybe those refineries need to go. Maybe those nuclear facilities, maybe they need to go before they get nuclear weapons.
Well, so we've been on your show a lot talking about this. How do you protect American troops in Syria and Iraq? You attack Iran when we're attacked in Syria and Iraq by Iranian proxies. This Biden administration is incredibly weak. Nobody respects them. Nobody's afraid of them. Let me tell our friends in Egypt and the United Arab Emirates, if you go into BRICS and join an organization made up of Iran, Russia, and China, you're going to make an enemy of me. Let me tell my friends in Saudi Arabia, I want you to normalize with Israel. I'd like to have a strategic relationship with you. But if you join BRICS, an organization basically controlled by Russia, China, and Iran, you will be an enemy of the United States. Biden has lost all respect and all fear. To the Iranians, if you kill one American in Syria and Iraq, and I know you're trying to through your proxies, I will do everything I can to make sure you're hit in return. To the Republican Party, let's stand up for Israel without equivocation. Let's put pressure on the Biden administration to protect our troops. President Biden does not have the backs of those serving in Syria and Iraq. Mr. President, President Biden, you need to let the Iranians know if you keep trying to kill Americans, we're coming after you.